Welcome back to another video. Apologize for the audio issues, but I wanted to get another video up because it's been a few days and I've been busy doing things. So here I am putting this video together using an iPhone. So forgive me. But Fable has been delayed into 2026. Now, there's no date. They just needed to buy themselves an entire year because Fable isn't ready. Now, there's tons of speculation. There's tons of videos being made about why this is happening. Game Pass, cost of everything, the idea of them being a third-party publisher. But here's why I believe Fable has been delayed. And it's the only and really the obvious answer, and that's that they need this game to launch on PlayStation 5 the same day that it launches into Xbox Game Pass because they need these games to make as much money as possible in as quick a time period as possible. Also, think about when a game releases and it's in Game Pass or on Xbox and it's not anywhere else, and you get the Metacritic scores, then you get the user scores, then you get the word of mouth, then you get the negativity, the positivity, and by the time the game releases, say on the PlayStation or the Switch 2, people have already made up their minds because other people have made up their minds for them. But when you launch a game day and date, there isn't that buffer in between. It's an instantaneous buy, and Microsoft absolutely needs that influx of cash with putting these games that cost a lot of money into Game Pass. And really, this is the first true big AAA game launching into Game Pass. It's a resurrection of the first three Fable games. They closed Lionhead Studios down. They got rid of Fable a long time ago, and here they are trying to bring it back again with a publisher and a developer who's never really worked on a third-person action-adventure game. They've only worked on really great racers. So the game looks phenomenal. There's new footage released of gameplay and everything looks great, but I really believe that the polish is there already. I think they're buying themselves time to make sure that this game launches on PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 Pro patch is there, haptic feedback with a DualSense controller. Everything is going to be there at launch with Fable when it drops into Game Pass and on PlayStation 5 the same day. Now, I know Microsoft has said they don't like to announce games too early, but this was announced pretty early. We still don't have a lot of information. For instance, character creation has always been something central to the Fable games. And so far, every time we see it, it's always this character here. And I think it would be a huge disservice to the franchise of Fable and to new players coming into this game to force them to play as a character. This isn't The Witcher, where we have a bunch of games and a strong narrative around a central character like Geralt of Rivia. This is a game where you create your character. So if they're starting Fable over again and forcing you to play as this character, that would be a disappointment to me. One of the things that I've consistently seen when it comes to Xbox first-party releases and Game Pass is this idea that they have to space these first-party games out so that subscribers have time to play them, so that they have the largest number of active users for those individual games. But that does not make any sense when you're talking about a subscription service. And we know that Microsoft is all in on subscription services. With a subscription service, you need to have the most amount of content humanly possible in the service to attract the largest group of consumers. For instance, if somebody isn't subscribed to Game Pass and you've got Indiana Jones and you hold off on dropping Fable in there, well, if they're not interested in Indiana Jones, they're not going to subscribe. But if you have Fable as well as Indiana Jones, they'll subscribe. So the idea of taking the approach of a la carte sales and spacing them out the way that the industry does when they're actually selling one-off copies of video games and they're not dedicated to subscription services, taking that model and applying it to a subscription service when first party isn't releasing games or delaying them makes absolutely no sense. Project Latitude is not about releasing games into Game Pass and then 6 months to a year later releasing them everywhere else. Project Latitude is literally a third-party strategy. It's literally our first party is releasing a game on Xbox Game Pass and everything else the same day, the same date. It's not anything other than that. So there have been a few games that have released and have dropped into Game Pass that haven't made their way to PlayStation 5 or Switch 2 yet. But the reasoning behind that is those games were just absolutely positively ready to go. They needed something to spur momentum. with the subscription service, and they drop them. These are AA games like South of Midnight, like Avowed, and they're good games, but they're not these AAA, huge, big budgeted games that I think Fable is aiming to be. And there's a lot riding on that because the cost of Fable is probably much greater than the cost of Avowed or Ninja Gaiden Black Remake 2 or even something like South of Midnight. Not saying the price of a game makes it better, but you have to factor that in when we're talking about a first party releasing a game. And to release it into a subscription service with not a lot of subscribers and not have it get that pull or that buzz when it releases, and having people wait 6 months to a year, go through all of the negativity, positivity, Metacritic scores, all of that stuff, you can't allow any of that to degrade any potential sales. So you've got to release it the exact same day that you release it in your subscription service. And that's absolutely why Fable was delayed. There will be a PlayStation 5 Pro patch ready to go day one. There will be DualSense features. So that's why Fable is delayed. I 100% believe that Fable was ready to go on time, and I 100% believe that the success of the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 5 Pro, the DualSense controller, all of those features that are additive that get people to spend $70 a la carte, all of those things are a giant pull for Microsoft and Xbox, because it isn't a giant pull for people that own Xbox. So this is why a game like Fable, this is why any game that costs a lot of money needs to go places where people spend money. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.